bad markets. So
Right.
this is what's happening, I think, today. But no, and to answer your question earlier, I am still long ASML.
Okay. Before we get into ASML, I just want to touch on that because I do think it's one of the more important things that you taught me during COVID and everything else is that during a bear market, you see some of the biggest, rallies. They're head fakes. Don't get away from if your thesis didn't change, your money shouldn't change, so to speak. So I just wanted to point that out because I would say it's one of the top lessons you taught me that has helped me preserve capital over the years. So I just wanted to hit on that. ASML, let's bring it up here. I know that you have been doing some scalps in general, but on this one decided to stay long. And of course, looks like with all of the chips moving today in the right direction, TSM or TSMC, depending on where you are in the world, the stock ticker moving up nicely. They blew away projections. So, what do you think on an ASML? You got a target for yourself here today?
I mean, look, I'm still long from 707. We're at 691 right now in the pre-market. I think the shorts went a little hard yesterday, and I think that short covering has already started. ECB cutting rates. They're going to continue to cut rates. That's going to help with the chipset. I think you're getting a really good deal here. Obviously we don't talk about what to buy or sell, but I think you're getting it on a. I like to buy things when they're cheap. I don't like to buy things when they're high. And
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Steve Flanagan brought it up pretty good too yesterday. For those that don't know, maybe you could go because you are the man that understands the financials. ASML, one of the largest companies, one of the two or three largest companies, if I'm not mistaken, in
yeah,
all of Europe. So, I like before this week, I wasn't that familiar with them, so I don't know that our viewers are.
yeah, I mean bananas, granolas, apples, oranges. It's crazy, right? There's all kinds of words. Mag Seven, the Fabulous Seven, the whatever Seven. Fantastic Four. It's all Look, when I look at the markets in general, I always look for best in class, and I look for areas that have been beaten up. Are you kidding me? AI chip sector in Europe has been beaten up. Great. Look, it's ASML. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, and like we talked about a little bit yesterday, there we know the pressure that everybody is putting on
Yeah,
um China. They don't want chips out of China. There is no secret, right? So this is Europe's answer the same way that we're seeing TSM announce that they'll have chips built in Arizona in 2025. I thought that was huge to hear. One thing I'll point out here, price to earnings ratio 38.28. While that might be a little scary when it's in that chip sector, that's nothing compared to I want to pull up Nvidia's, but I believe they're in the above that, and if we get into things like Snowflake and some of those other tech companies, they would be up in the 90s.
right, yeah, right. So for a tech company, this is very low for a PE ratio. Um, and I'll tell you, yesterday the volume was 10.3 million when the average volume is 1.93, right? So volume is way up, meaning the shorts were trying to stick it to ASML. Not going to happen today. That's this. Look, this is a $280 billion company. This is one of the biggest companies. I know. Pushing that into comparing that to an Apple with $3 trillion or Nvidia at $3 trillion is a little different. But
Absolutely.
what have I been talking about? M&A could be really hot here, especially in a company like this. Could you imagine if an Apple or a company like that, Qualcomm or those companies, buys this out? This will be a whole different ball of wax. But right now, I like it here. I think it's been beaten up. Not sporting anything, but their EPS, basic EPS, is 19.10. Look, and only 393 million shares floating around. So the price should go back up. It should get into the mid 700, 750, somewhere around there. That'd be the bounce back here.
Yeah, I love that play, and you've been nailing them when it comes to those beaten down ones for no reason, right? Even SCMI when
Right.
that did it, Humana, you made a great play there when that did it. If you're not noticing, Steve has a little, motive to this. It's a couple of things. Mean reversion is the number one trade out there right now, most profitable trade that we keep seeing talked about. That's a mean reversion. It's also a contrarian play to a little bit there, and you gotta love a stock that's irrationally low, and like we said, Nvidia has like 3 times the PE there, and good reason. Again, Nvidia is best in class, but those are the type of things you want to take a look at here. You did mention it. Chips are moving with TSM's news sort of across the board here this morning. I saw AMD starting to gain. I was looking at pretty much most of the chip sector moving up. SMCI up another 4% here, pre-market movers. I was looking also at Qualcomm.
We have a doggy that's very interested today. What's going on?
How's Bailey doing?
He's good.
Good, good. Also seeing a little bounce back by Apple here today. AMD, like I said, up 2.79%. So definitely seeing techs move in the right direction. Steve, you got into a little bit there. ECB was pretty much where we've been talking about. Stephen Flanagan again talked about that yesterday, a quarter point move. Nothing out of the out of the ordinary there. No surprise. Job
I tell
numbers.
you what,
Anything surprise you this morning in any of the numbers?
yeah,
that you
I
sort of
think
hit?
one thing I like here is these retail sale numbers. Retail sales up a 0 point, looks like 3%, 4%. They were expecting 0.3%, so a little bit more. But if you minus out the autos, it was up 0.5% versus up 0.1%. So auto sales are not as good. We've been knowing that for a while. But as rates come down, auto sales should go back up. But it's
Right.
retail sales that are way up early holidays. So that kind of portends that people are feeling just a wee bit better in the markets than they were. But right now, that's really good. I like this X autos up 0.7%.
The
That's
other one I
really
had to
good.
ask you about was the Philadelphia Fed's manufacturing index. I know you like to look at that. We saw not so great numbers there yesterday or the day before. Today we see a nice beat there, 3% rise versus a 1.7 estimated. Were you surprised by that number? Because I knew we had seen manufacturing lagging a little bit.
Yeah, manufacturing, especially in New York, manufacturing, we saw that in those numbers last week. Really not good. They're really bad. They were contracting. So I don't know. I need to see a little few more numbers outside of manufacturing. I'll tell you what's interesting for me in manufacturing is the ECB. Christine Lagarde says that the decision to cut the rates by a quarter point or 25 basis points was unanimous. This is a
Yeah.
lady who, over the last 3 years, have been saying, "No way, we're going to raise rates to the ceiling, and things are going to have. No way, we're going to continue to cut or raise rates because we're trying to cut inflation." All of a sudden, now it's unanimous. Now they got to cut, not once, not twice, now 3 times in a row. That tells you things are not so good. So manufacturing in Europe is more important right now to me than manufacturing in the United States because, quite frankly, the whole politics right now is about manufacturing, bringing back jobs back to the United States. So right now, I'm telling you right now, my eye is on manufacturing in Europe because, quite frankly, the world is actually watching Europe. Why?
Right.
Because there's some issues here, right? You've got yeah, I know that Israel isn't part of it, but I mean, you look at it from the perspective of Ukraine, you look at a perspective of Russia, and the geopolitical issues that are going on in the Europe's area. That this could really seep in, as my dad always says. If United States has the sniffles, Europe has the cold, right? And so
Sure.
this could be really a good indicator of how good or bad we are here in the States.
Yep, that'd be important. I will point out today we do have at 9:15 here coming up industrial production numbers, business inventories. I'll be interested to see where that falls in, and then at 10 o'clock we have home builder confidence index. So those will be some interesting or important numbers to take a look at today. There do have earnings, again in the forefront of everything that we're looking at. We've already had some nice numbers come in. Again, banks leading the way. Let me get my calendar out here. I don't want to give you the wrong info. But Travelers was one with a nice beat here this morning. Travelers is up 4.96% here this morning. Were you surprised by that in the insurance with the stuff in Helene and Milton and all that? The Travelers moving up this much on their
Yeah, because quite
earnings?
frankly, Helene was bad, but Milton is not nearly as bad as expected. And look, the hurricane turned the right way a little bit, so I'm okay. Look, when you look at insurance in general, remember insurance isn't the big one you got to worry about. It's the reinsurers, right? If you don't know what a
Right.
reinsurer is, those are the companies that insure the insurance company. That's right. Lawyers have lawyers have lawyers, right? Same thing with insurance. Insurance companies have their own insurance companies, and that's who I lean to look at, and that's General Ray. So for me, let's see how General Ray plays out for me. But
Okay.
right
I
now, I'm
will
not
say
too
their
worried.
net income more than tripled to 1.26 billion, EPS 5.42 a share on 404 million in revenue. I don't know why Travelers just dropped out. There it goes. My screen they got a little weird. So again, really good earnings reports out of Travelers. Again, TSM came in, blew away numbers. They're up 8.75% here this morning, giving chips a nice little boost, as we can see right now at 204. So that's going to open up at a 52-week high here, gapping up nicely on their numbers. The thing that, again, that I mentioned, I was a big takeaway from TSMC is that they are, number one, going to have chips building here in the U.S., in Arizona in 2025. So, again, I thought that was good to see. Their third quarter profits did crush the expectations. It wasn't even close there to what guidance was.
I'll tell you, if you really want to talk about a stock today, is going to be Expedia and Uber.
Uber, yeah, I have the.
What have I been
Steve, you're
talking
looking at my
about
screen here.
M&A?
Expedia is the next one right on the list there.
Look at that.
Yeah, on that news that they, Expedia might and Uber there, more mergers and acquisitions. Were you surprised at this at all? I know the
What have I
answer
been
to that
talking about for
because
the last 2 months? I said it. Look, as rates come down, the money gets cheap. Mergers and acquisitions, M&A, are going to be hot. And guess who does very, very well in an M&A?
banks.
That's right.
I've been listening.
You heard that from David Solomon yesterday. We're going to get back to our normal ways of doing things. They make money when mergers and acquisitions happen, right? And I've been saying it for a while. Look for companies that are quality, that are just maybe beaten up for no reason. Maybe they just need a little help. Maybe they need some activism going on. Maybe some Starboard coming in. Maybe a little David Einhorn playing a game. Carl Icahn getting hot and heavy over some things. All of a sudden, you're going to find M&A even hotter. I think M&A over the next 3 months is going to be super white hot. I've been talking about it now for a while, and now here we are.
Yep.
So,
Were you
Expedia being
surprised that
bought
Uber
out.
dropped on this news? I mean, Expedia up 6.542. Uber actually down two and a
Yeah, of
half
course,
points.
because it's going to cost Uber, right? They're going to have to either sell some shares or raise some cash or get some debt, and that hurts the stock price. Yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, this is normal. But if the deal doesn't go through, there'll probably some breakup fees. But Uber stock probably bounce right back. But Uber and Expedia getting together, that's a big deal. That means that Uber has something else in mind other than just moving.
Well, they've made it clear they're a technology company, not a ride-sharing company.
That's right.
And, we've talked about this with Tesla and other companies that you have to look at, where are they actually going to end up, not where are they today? Because, those that had the forevision, like you've talked about with Amazon, to realize they weren't going to be a bookseller forever. Look how they've
Right.
profited over the years. Is that the kind of thing that we see within Uber? Is that the type of things that we see with some of these other companies building out these ecosystems? It's very
Right.
important. And as you know, with data, the more companies you can intertwine into this stuff, the more you're able to use your own information in the way to benefit yourself and have a competitive advantage. Steve, you have any feel for Netflix today? I'm pulling up the chart here. We know they're going into earnings, always explosive. The implied volatility was about 7%, as I mentioned on Monday. Going into this today, it's actually up a little bit from there. So, what are you thinking?
I think we're getting into the holidays, so Netflix obviously will be something that everybody's watching. They're all going to gather around. New movies coming out. The cost of movies are going up to produce, but industrial production coming out is minus 0.3% versus expectation of minus 0.2%. So that's a industrial production we need to see up, but it looks like slipping. And I think it all depends. I mean, Netflix has some new movies coming out. I know my family will gather around the TV, hang out, and watch, for Thanksgiving and as the holidays come around. So yeah, there's going to be some issues there, but let's see. But their question mark is, I think, has been around the international play, and I think you're seeing a lot more of that. With international movies coming into the United States, there's a lot more from there, and they're cheaper to buy than say like Hollywood movies, the big blockbusters. And I'll
Sure.
say this much, that the vice versa, Netflix moving into foreign countries, selling U.S. Movies into those countries are way up too. So I think Netflix may have a nice beat here. May not be a blowout, but they'll definitely beat on the numbers. I think it'll
Interesting. They're
surprise.
looking for the subscribers to now be at about 281.5 million, a jump up from 247.2. That's the
Yeah.
FactSet median look for there, and they're looking for an EPS around $5.12 a share on revenue of 9.77 billion. Best in class for sure. I don't know. Today's a day that I avoid some of that stuff. While I love volatility, this one I don't have a good feel because what we've seen with Netflix is, they miss that subscriber by one person, and it can drop 10%. There's
Yeah.
not a lot of room for error, is what I would
But I,
say.
I think that people are tired of looking at subscriber numbers because look, subscriber numbers don't always answer the call, because quite frankly, 90% of the subscribers are moving away from ads. People hate ads, so they're going to pay the bigger price, right? They're going to they don't want the ads, so they'll pay the extra $5. That's worth 5 subscribers, right? So to me, yeah, I really think that it's all about. And I'll tell you something else, that if you're looking at this area of videos, that Hulu and Disney and all the things I'm talking about coming together and being a part of each other is bigger, right? ABC, Nat Geo, all of those companies now coming into under one roof, under one video. That's the kind of things that I think you're going to see. Warner Brothers Discovery doing the same thing, right? Growing that
Yeah.
out.
Well, it's
Um, you
hysterical
know,
because we all think of ABC, NBC, CBS as the three biggest companies, but none of them are their own company anymore.
right,
They're now
right.
small pieces of huge conglomerates. It's amazing how that has evolved. Again, that shows you the evolution of business. And companies that do it right will benefit, and the ones that don't tend to fall away or lose their relevance. I saw talk about the fact that people complaining that maybe it's time to take Intel out of the Dow component and replace it with a chip company that was, more relevant nowadays. So it doesn't take long till you're not a darling anymore. On
Yep.
the downside, I did see Nokia NOK. They were way down today, about 5.38%. Again, another European company said that they just numbers aren't really good. They're tracking within the bottom half of their estimates that they see for end of year, and that their key mobile networks equipment sales fell 19%. So they're getting hit here so far. Another one getting hit. I was a little surprised. Rail, CSX reported third quarter earnings that rose from a year earlier, but their profit on their EPS of 46 cents a share that missed the estimates.
Yeah, I
By
mean,
4 cents.
CSX is moving things. Burlington Northern, Santa Fe, BNSF, same thing. They're moving product around the country. Look to me, CSX is probably have some issues right now. Now, as gas prices go up, as oil costs go up, yeah, then CSX becomes a more manageable place to put money into it. Diesel, obviously, but moving product around the country. If you want to talk about issues, I went to the grocery store to replace the refrigerator that lost a lot during the hurricane. Live cattle steak prices are outrageous. I, for the first time, looked down at prices of steak and were absolutely blown away by 2 pieces of meat for $40. What the heck? I didn't expect that because I don't.
Yeah, I actually, if you remember, I've been warning about that for about a month or so because I am in the middle of cattle country, believe it or not. I never realized how big Ohio is
Yeah.
in farming and agriculture, of course. And, a lot of complaints from the farmers here about feed prices really had gone up over the last couple of years. A lot of these costs that they can't control had moved in the wrong direction for them, along with these seasonal abnormalities that we've seen, right? The heat in the summer, the cold in the winter, no rain, too much rain, all of those affect cattle prices. That's why I'm a buyer by the quarter cow, not by the steak anymore, Steve. I got to get you in my world of direct from the farm buying. You got it up right up by you. Zephyrfills is
I,
huge for
I
that. I
love it.
always
Yeah.
say it wrong. How do you say that, city?
Zephyr Hills, yeah. Look,
Yeah.
I get it. Buying from the farmer is better, but you still got to package it up. There's still packaging.
Yeah, and that
Uh,
cost and processing's gone up. I can tell you because I just re-upped. I just love it. It's just it's one of the things that I've never thought I would probably do until I moved to Ohio, and I get to actually go see the cow that I'm going to eat for the next few months. And they make it. You end up paying about four
and that's
fifty to
future. That's commodities. That's
yeah,
how we.
what it
Yeah.
is I'm getting in at $455 for my beef, and while my ground meat might cost a little bit more than you're paying at Kroger, but my T-bones and my ribeyes more than make up for that in my eyes. So, sticking in some of the movers here today, Steve, Lucid again, Lucid. You want to talk about a company that can't catch a break, can't seem to get out of its own way. They're filing its estimates third quarter loss from operations again about $765 million. Again, more than analysts thought. So Lucid down about 18% here in pre-market hours. They just can't seem to get out of the way. I did want to stay, Steve, a little bit in your world. KMI. They did not have great earnings either. They natural gas pipeline company. They
Yeah.
did see their third quarter earnings rise, but their adjusted profit had fallen and missed analyst estimates. You had talked about that. Now, does this play into what you were talking about yesterday a little bit about with natural gas prices, or is this more they're the picks and shovels of that and not necessarily natural gas
Well,
itself?
Kinder Morgan in and of itself is a very large company. I think right now their market cap is 55 billion in the nat gas space. Look, Kinder Morgan is a good company, quality. They've been around a long time. Probably just a blip on the upside. We saw a massive selling back in. If you pull up a monthly chart on
You got
KMI,
it.
yeah, you'll see this was a $43 stock that went to about $11. And over the time that they have tried to get back to that,
Look at that
to me,
recovery.
correct. They've been in that recovery mode for many, many years and quietly and had a few issues over the years. But to me, it's still Kinder Morgan. They're still moving forward, still growing, but slowly. The nat gas world is not a sexy stock market world. If you're a long time trader, you're an investor, not a trader. This is a much better play. But to me, look, if you're going to go in this direction, you want bigger play, shall we say, and that's been Oxy OXY, which is where Warren Buffett has
Right,
been.
Warren does it. I am looking. They do have a dividend yield of about 4.62%. It looks like on Kinder
Yeah,
Morgan also,
it's
so that's
it's,
not
it's a
too
company
bad.
that's long term,
You always teach me to look for that dividend too. Don't just look at that stock price.
right? And if you look at nat gas in general, but honestly, the weather patterns in the United States have been a little off. So, do we expect a cold winter? We're not quite sure yet, but I am expecting a very, very cold winter, because, quite frankly, I think the weather patterns have been off. So, to me, that tells me everything. And nat gas seems to be a bit pretty cheap right here.
What I love is that you just brought up. I'm looking at Oxy here again. We know that it's a fan favorite with Mr. Buffett.
Yeah.
Um, as opposed to Kinder Morgan and trying to play something off the top of a chart, right, after making an explosive run up. You can see Oxy, at this 51.21 is more on the downside. It's
If
more
you're looking to
reasonable
play
range.
these kind of stocks, I've got one that I like, that especially in the M&A business, and that's Kodiak Gas Services, KGS. That company has growing. If you look at it from a daily perspective or a weekly
Okay.
chart, It's really been pushing up over the last few months, especially yeah. But this is a company that's exploration. It's also a company that produces the picks and the shovels that you talk about in that business. But KGS is one that I do like. Quality company here. It has a nice divvy, has a nice everything, and it's growing too. So this is a win-win situation for a lot of people.
Okay. I'm
But a
gonna
little bit the PE
put
ratio is a
that
little
on
high.
my watch list here.
I see ASML now up at 1.4% here, almost up $10 here. So I'm just about to be even with the sale. Yeah, I'm in at 707, but the nice win yesterday from the big hit.
That
Um,
was amazing. VS, I still have it up over here on
yeah,
this screen. Those of you that were watching yesterday, Steve pointed out as this. I had pointed out earlier in the day, and then when it got into its, sorry, let me get it down into the chart real
yeah. I mean,
quick
we
here.
crushed VS on that open on the halt, and then I showed everybody how to play it. That was to buy the limit orders. Put the limit order just a little bit above where it's at. It'll lift it. Boom! It lifted it. Boom! And right up it went. So that was a normal play. I don't know if you got any of those today, Howard, on your
I
radar. I
do
know you
have
like.
some for us to look at, Steve, here in the pre-market movers. Let me pull them up. Uh, BREA is one to take a look at here on the 3-minute chart. It's right at the bottom of that flag. It doesn't look pretty right now, but what I'm going to tell you is, again, 3 minutes from open, if you see this bounce back over here, BREA, Breer, this is one to keep an eye on. NTBL, we got a few of them today. Again, looks pretty good here. This one's one that's setting up real nice to bounce off VWAP here. So if we can get that, we'll really like to see that. Let me change my chart here a little bit. Then I'm looking at one of the ones we've been looking at a few times, TNXP here. TNXP, which is Tonix Pharmaceuticals. This is one that would be a breakout. Now looking for the continuation of that breakout. Love to see it challenge about 17 cents here, 1771, the VWAP, and look for a bounce there. But we are about 2 minutes away. We got a bunch of them here that look like they could do it. The other one, JTAI, that I hit twice last week for 25% pumpers, is absolutely primed in the same type of situation that we saw last week. Again, it made its move up at 4 a.m., made its second move up at 8 a.m. here. So we're going to watch this one into open, still nicely above VWAP here. Here, if it breaks the 10-cent mark, that's what I'm looking at here. Looking for it to break the 10-cent mark. It's at 989 here. If it does that, look for a run back up towards, as high as 11 cents. And again, I point this one out because last week we hit this one 2 days in a row. And you can see the pumps it made on those days.
Okay, well, I like that.
Steve, we are 1 minute out from open here. QQQ looking solid so far. Up over, this is the first 1% pre-market we've seen in a while. Up over 1% here.
Yeah, I mean, you had a massive sell-off yesterday. I think this is just a breather for those that are long. I don't see anything different here. I think the markets are still going to continue to sell off. We're not cliff diving yet, but we're getting close. You can see it right there, slowly, slowly, slowly. But I think we're just about there to see a nice little pullback, which I'll be ready to buy. I've been raising cash, as you know. All right, Hondo, we are
We
now
are open, and the first ticks are to the downside, about 257 here. Let's see what we get.
profit taking and some shorts probably reloading, but I think that they're wrong today, actually.
Steve, I will point out I did mention that I thought Bitcoin was going to pull back and not really break that 68 yesterday. We are back at 66,800. Want to see it stay sideways here and consolidate at this upper level, stay above 65 here would be extremely healthy.
Yeah, tick. Oh wow, tick just dropped down 400 out on the open. So probably not a good sign. Probably some profit taking.
And we are down now, well, right at 1 percentage point to the upside here on QQQ. AVGO up 3.18% here this morning.
Come on, ASML, keep
Baidu
going.
still seeing China again getting hit here this morning. Baidu down another 2.28%. DJT yesterday had tried to make a move, today down about 3%.
You're
Seeing
seeing the Dixie now 103.82, so it's
Yeah,
still
it
pushing.
broke through that. That is something I wanted to bring up with you. It broke through Steve Flanagan's level
Yep.
there. So he says now it's going to that 1450 to watch for that.
Oof.
So again, he mentioned that yesterday. If it broke through that 1033, 1035 area, watch out. And you can see that's a big move.
Yep.
So he definitely nailed that. He is our
Tick is
Mr.
still slipping
Currency.
here. Yeah, Tick is still slipping here down 330. Well, down 400 now.
Tesla getting hit had been up in pre-market hours, now down here almost 1%, so it got hit pretty hard here.
Nvidia now up to almost $140 a share. I'm still saying we're going to 200 on Nvidia. I've been talking about that for a while. I've been scalping at both sides of that coin, but quite frankly, Nvidia still pushing.
Had a nice move up this morning. Neo down about 3.63, staying on that side. Micron moving up nicely to another 2% here. Intel up 1.79, now 1.3. Ooh, got hit there a little bit. Amazon bouncing back after a weak day yesterday, up about 0.85, almost a point here this morning.
Yeah, Albemarle Lithium Company, they're down about 2.5%. Been talking about that for a while. Finally, some
Yeah, they were
profit.
down yesterday too. I was a little surprised, but they've been, they again another one that's just been on fire. Let's take a look here at these pumpers. Did any of them
I think
move?
we need to keep our eye here on Uber today. Uber down 2%. Some people, man, Tick is getting slaughtered here, down 500 now.
Take a look at AMLX. Just got halted here, Steve. AMLX. Let's see if that gives us a play like yesterday's. Looks like it doesn't look like it's on halt to me. It looks like it might be off halt already. Oof, that's just halted the wrong way.
Ooh, damn
Yeah, it
it.
is halted
ASML
334.
pulling back a bit here. Pretty much that profit taking on that
See
run. But
another halt, Steve. Take a look at STAF. STAF.
man, oh man, I'm hitting that. Lucid shares getting smacked right here.
Yeah. I mean, they got to be at the verge of. Whoa, Steve, we could have a runner here with STAF here. Stopped at 462 on the way up. Should reopen here in about a minute. This one looks pretty nice here. I wish it was above VWAP here. That would give us the definite go-ahead on this. It's a little bit more risky where it's at, but I love how it's playing off the bottom of that consolidation of that bull flag here. I might take a run on this here.
All right,
Again,
that's
this is
it.
STAF. Let me add it to our sheet here.
Still more selling in Nasdaq. Had a feeling it's just not a good. Markets are just not healthy right now.
Take a look at this STAF.
It's on my radar here. I'm not making a swing on this one. I don't. It seems to be a little too crazy for me.
Yeah, you got to watch it. It isn't all for everything.
Yeah, we're still seeing more selling here in the Nasdaq. Profit taking it pretty heavy here.
see what it does here. We should see it open up in about 30 seconds. 462 it's at here. Seeing a pretty big bid ask. 456, 467. I might try to pick it up at 456 here, see what happens. We are about to hit it here. Tick negative 600 now, Steve. QQQ has lost 3/4 of a point here since we opened already. Still at 462.
Yep, looks like Nasdaq just cannot hold. It is having a rough morning here after this pump. Yeah, I'm not liking this at all.
QQQ trying to hold at this level. It's been holding that 492.75 pretty well.
All right, Mr. Hondo, I think I'll make a swing at this as well. All right.
Let's see what happens. It's open, going down, but don't worry yet. Here it goes, Steve. 477.
And I'm now in.
I am in also.
I'm in at 473.
459. We got to break through this VWAP here. Let's see what happens. We're at 479. Here we go, Steve. I'm only looking for about 550 out of this. Looking close. 525.
Oh my goodness gracious.
539. 540. I'm going to sell here if we hit 550. Put my limit order.
I am out, Howard. I went pretty big here. I took that big money and just took it and ran. Look at that, 539.
There you go. I am out at 545.
Good job. That's good. Oh, look at that, going 552. You would have had your 550 there, but
yeah, you got me. Listen, again, I listened to what you say. Look at the volatility. I do think this one explodes, but I was in for a quick scalp there. It's hard to do both at the same time, but I will take a nice win there. It's a 10% win, Steve. I put it in a matter of 15 seconds. You don't get a ton of those, do you? Although we do. This is what we've been doing lately. This is the market right now. Again, we're not telling you to invest in these pumper dumper things, but you can play them and you can see how to play them. You can see the setups. And let me go through what I was looking at here for our viewers, Steve. This is what we call a nice bull flag, right? It made its move up here. It set itself a nice floor. And what we tend to see is when it bounces through that floor, what does it do? When it gives us our bounce, it's a pretty explosive move to the upside. And it brought us right back. It was pretty predictable. That's why I was at that 550 level, is that I was looking right here where we had seen it bounce up to before. And look at it, and that's what it's challenging right now. If it breaks through that, you'll see its next move. I'm not going to jump back in it here, but a lot of times I would jump right back in if it broke through that 582.
It's 544 again. It might run again a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if it breaks that 582 here, watch out. I've got it up on the screen. That's the top of the sort of the bullish flag that we were looking at. But these work. Let's see if anything else does that here this morning for us. Seeing a stop now, BREA. Let's take a look at that. That was one we brought up in the early morning hours here. So BREA, one of the ones we talked about earlier here on the show. It just stopped at this 135. This is an interesting one too, because you can see where it started its last move up here this morning at 4 a.m. It jumped from 126, 238, almost 100% to the upside. See what this does out of open. This one's a little bit more risky in my opinion because you've got downside to 70 cents. I don't like that risk reward there. Not sure that I would play that one. Let's see if anything else gets started.
And ASML just went negative here. Whew.
Let's see. This one should go pretty soon here. We'll see what happens.
That dollar pushing up is really a pressure on the market here.
Yeah, what I'm impressed is Bitcoin holding up at 67 with Dixie, moving up that high today overnight. So that's a good sign there. Do want to mention I saw Anthony Pompliano, one of the Bitcoin maxis we have in the business that gets on all the talk shows, talking this morning about what we've been talking about here for a month or so, is that the supply shock on Bitcoin would start to kick in. It is 6-7 months after the halving, and what happens after that starts to kick in. We're seeing that now, so expect to see Bitcoin hold up here above 65, consolidate for a little bit to make its next run up towards 70. Look at this. Here goes another one. Bria started at 135 was the stop, 136, 142. Man, look at this. Is going to be an interesting one too. Could make a run here. BREA in front of us, 141. It breaks through 146 here. Watch out, and it's going to do it. Here it goes. Boom, another one, man. I should have pulled that trigger. That's okay. You can't take them all. Can't take them all. But it had the same setup. I should have been looking at it, right? This setup just plays right
151. There it goes. Wow.
151. Again, if you watch that here, it was halted at that 125 level. Now 151. As I said, this got room. Man, you got room here right up to 170 now. It could go up to getting a little sell, but this isn't. It's not for the faint of heart either. You see those wicks come and go real quick, even on a 1 minute chart here. So there it goes, 153. But another one, PIXY, another one just got halted here, Steve. Let's take a look at that. PIXY.
Yeah. Shift Pixie is one of those stocks that just every once in a while does its thing. Yep.
Yeah. What these are is there's not a huge float. This one getting stopped to the downside though. Here you go. This one's gonna be this would be a short for me. 1080. I don't think you see that bounce back this way. It made its move already today.
We've been talking about it with Eli Lilly LLY with the drugs for weight loss up another 1.2% today.
Yeah, it just keeps moving. You've been on that for better part of a month and a half.
Boeing is back to 155 there, 155 and a half there, up another 0.3% on literally a day. Boeing is supposed to be falling apart. The company's no good. Yeah, well, we're still seeing pushing up.
Well, you pointed it out, Steve. They shored up their money this week, and It is one of the most widely held and widely traded stocks in the market. And I think that gave a signal to people saying, okay, there were some of us, that myself included, that said, hey, is this the bottom or not? Do they see more bad news, or does it move in the right direction? And you can see moving in the right direction. So
Staff is back down to 430. It jumped up to 550 there, Hondo.
Oh yeah, you don't stay in those more than a few seconds. I'm not gonna lie. BREA at 145 here. VSME, another one that just got stopped. Let's take a look at that one. VSME, that's always a fun one here. VS Media Holdings. Another one on the way down, though. Another one on the way down. They should give us a different signal. LUPD, which means stopped either up or down. I get it. Can I have one that just tells me the ups and not just the downs, not the boths?
I think one of the cool things about that module on Quasar Markets is that it's right in front of you, right? You don't have to have another page open. You don't have to have any other set of data open. It's right in front of you, right? And so, if you want to play these all day long like you are, it's right there for you for the taking.
I'm going to pull it up so everyone can see what we're talking about here. And this, again, is my platform on Quasar Markets, or the way I have it set up. I can share this. Any users that want to do this, send us a message and I'll get you my setup. But you can see right here, trade halt. It's right in front of me. I don't even have to scroll down. I have it set so I can see that, and I can also see the market movers. Look at that, our STAF, second market mover, PI, the Pixie, all the ones we're talking about. We got another halt coming whenever you see it. That's the other thing I love is it catches my eye because it goes to this like, hey, you better watch me, something's happening, and it goes from there. So I love it. As I said, I use it consistently to point these out, consistently to play them.
Yesterday you were talking about we nailed BS down 21% here out of 313, but pretty much holding down here a little bit.
Yeah, well, and I wouldn't play it today, but that I keep these on my watch list because they go. UPXI, Steve, that's the one that just got halted. Let's take a look at this. UPXI, because we've got ourselves a few minutes to take a look at it before it reopens. Ooh, that's looking real juicy there on the 3 minutes, Steve. I'd advise you pull up that 3 minute chart. Take a look here. If it breaks this resistance here, if it goes up, it will break that resistance at 457, challenge the VWAP up to 585. This is definitely one on my radar here.
Okay.
Let's see. I got to make sure it's offered. I'm using
Their average volume there is 108,000. Today there's roughly almost
1.77 million. Yeah, when they go, listen, like I said, I don't, I've been watching these. Charlie Moon's been doing these pennies in his stockroom for years. There are there are fundamentals to them. You're looking for certain things here. Again, what am I looking at? This thing has found a floor since 6 a.m. this morning in that $3.85 to $4 range. It just broke to the north side, 407. You can see it tried twice, couldn't get above that 450 level, but I'd take 407 to 450, 460 and not be upset. If it breaks it, you've got upside here. This is where we talk about risk reward. Set yourself a stop loss in that area of about from 407 maybe 375, below this 375 level. Set your stop loss, but you're trying to take profit up here up towards 585.
I'm just reading here from China's Xinhua News that soybean harvesting in China's major soybean producing area is poised for a bumper harvest. We, as the United States, we export a lot of soybeans to China and foreign countries, and so them having a bumper crop there. Okay, we're also seeing Medrom, MRM also halted here, right? MRM.
Yep, we got a couple of them.
Israeli Army radio now says that Israel's prime minister now, here we go, we're getting some news coming in. Netanyahu will hold an urgent security consultation this evening with the Minister of Defense and Army commanders. Something big here is about to happen, I think, in Israel. Let's hope it's not an all-out war.
We don't like to hear that.
All right, let's keep our eye here. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at NVO, another one that Novo Nordisk, so I talked about, another weight loss drug. Another 0.5% up again today. The big winner here, I think, over the last few days has also been Charles Schwab, SCHW. They have done very well. They approved the trading is still going on, and I really like what they're doing over there. So, that stock has really been doing quite well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are seeing WTI oil now 70.64 barrels, so that's going to put a little bit of pressure on some of these what I call the Dow theory stocks, right? So
yep. UPXI is going to come off of halt here. Let's see what happens. 407. It's about to come off halt, and I'm seeing the halts. There's another one coming up. Coming off 407 here. 407. Seeing it's 407 to 418 right now is bid and ask. That leads you to the upside also. I look at that sometimes too, where the stop is, Steve, versus where it goes. Here we go. Oh, it stopped the other way. 390 here. 390 is its first. 380 moving in the wrong direction here. Let's see what happens. But there it goes. 388, 393, 397. Looks like we might have hit another one. Let's see what's happening. It's not showing me the volume I want to see, though, Steve, right now. 384, 388. Got to see a volume bar. 397. Here we go. It breaks 407. Here goes another one, Steve. 415, 422. Come on. 422, 410, 411, 408. Losing some steam. Can it get it way back up here? Do we have another one? Again, we'd be looking, as I mentioned, if it gets to that 440, that's all we're looking for here. 440, and we'd be out. 430. Now 4. Whoa, that was a big downward swing. 361, moving in the wrong direction here. There it goes, 402. This one's got wild swings. Volume just pumping in here. Volume is just finally pumping in. 381. Let's see what it does. 387. 379. Looks like this one doesn't have the legs yet to make its move. 380. Sit in that position. 370. 365. This one's going to go in the wrong direction, it looks like here. Doesn't look like it's going to give us that pump. 350. Yep, that one's moving the wrong way. It's going to, it fills this gap. It's over. Goes below 332. Doesn't look like we're going to hit on that one. 358. It's still battling here. It's still battling within range.
Bring him on, Howard. Come on, let's go.
Doesn't look like it wants to go, Steve. 338. I did not get in on this one, so 324. It's definitely moving the wrong direction here. I'd be getting out of get out of this if you're in. You don't want to be in it. 324, 327. Doesn't look like it's got the legs. It tried. If it doesn't make that move quick, you don't really see much moves. It's still moving in that range, though.
Nvidia now at 140.5 now, up almost 3.5% here, up more than 3.5% now.
Wow. And we see QQQ trying to get back up to highs, towards those highs of the day. It was up over a point in pre-market. Tick still negative slightly, though, here. VIX is down significantly here, Steve, at 19.28. Are you surprised by that at all?
No, not at all. No.
Bitcoin trying to hold 67, struggling to hold 67 here. WTI regained that 70 handle. Apple back to even on the day. They had been up in the early market movers. Still seeing chips in the right area here, though. AMD up 2.32, AVGO up 4%. Crowd up another 1.15. They've recovered pretty nicely here after that disaster. Intel up 1.66 here. JD down 3.7%. MicroStrategy up about a half a point here without Bitcoin moving, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's getting kind of quiet up here, huh?
Yeah, I'm not seeing much hit right now. That's what I was looking for. Seeing if anything sort of hitting here. Not really.
BSME now up 24% here, so it's slipping.
NVIDIA continuing to push up here, Steve.
Yep.
Just hit an all-time high again.
Yeah, I mean the selling. Look at that Nasdaq trying here a little bit, but I think it's going to see another slip here. If the Dow goes negative today, which I do think is going to happen, the markets are just weak as can be.
You can see NVIDIA reject the top of that short-term linear regression here. BREA now up 118%. So that one is trying to make a move.
My eye is still, as you know, I watch Disney like a hawk. Disney here, DIS 96.42 here, down 0.3%. I think it gets back over 100 pretty soon, especially coming into the winter here. Yeah,
You've always been a buyer of Disney in general under 100.
that's correct. Yep, oh, there you go. There's the Nasdaq selling. I had a feeling that that was what was going to happen. Wow, that is a weak market when you see. Look at that
Well, and the
selling there.
scary part is, chips, like we said, Nvidia up 3.54%, TSM up 11.14.
Yeah.
Boeing getting hit a little bit here, now only up 0.38% back at 155.50. Tick negative 250 here.
Yeah, I
There
mean,
goes
I'm
BREA off the stop, just jumped from 150 to 160 to 164.
and I think
Again,
the big question here now is gold back to 26.88 now. It looks like an all-time high again. So
yep.
we are still pushing higher on gold. As you know, my eye is always on silver, 31.77. It's having a hard time at 32. I continue to talk about that 32 handle being a rough resistance. But if we
Yep.
break through 32, we're going to go right on up.
Is that one you would look for that you would think it's a decent accumulation area in this area, or would you wait to see it confirm over that 33 handle?
I think we need to see more geopolitical issues. 32 is just a rough spot there
Oh, yeah,
for
you
it.
can see it here.
Yeah, 31.88. They're
Yeah.
right in that area. It still really has a hard time, but at 32, that's where a lot of people are selling their silver. You saw it back in early part of October, getting up to 32 and a half. But man, that's anywhere in that range. Um, it's just it's interesting. CrowdStrike up
As I
1.15%.
said, they've recovered nicely. Again, another one that you talked about. They're one of the biggest in the business.
Yeah, Disney about to go positive on the day here. Look at that. See, I think Disney goes.
BREA now at 171 here, so got stopped at 150, and it got stopped earlier when we showed you at 125. Now at 168, 170. So you got today's runners.
PIXY now 1170. Yeah.
They are moving.
Yeah, I think if Nasdaq breaks down, yeah, we're still seeing some more selling in Nasdaq. I think Nasdaq goes red today. We're
Really?
almost there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so weak. I think people are just nervous here. And look, let's be honest. There's been a lot of people here that are betting on the markets based on politics, and I can tell you from experience doing this for 33 years that is the dumbest thing that I would ever do. I would never, ever, 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 ever play the markets based on a betting site. I talked about this morning, Polymarket. Now we found out that there's two people putting big bets in, trying to persuade the markets. And I've been saying, oh, but look, Trump's going to win. Oh, look, Kamala's going to win. No, do not bet your money, your hard-earned money, on whether or not the market's going to go up or down based on a presidential election. That literally is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and I have seen it quite a bit this year. And when they lose their money, I just go, I don't know what to tell you. I've been trying to tell you, right? Don't ever bet your money on betting markets. That's just stupid. And I'll just say it's just stupid. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything like that nature.
Well,
Now,
that is going to take us out today on Quasar Markets morning show with Steve Big D. Well, we can't leave on those news, so
well, I
let's
have to
talk
leave because I
about
got a meeting,
Nvidia and
but
chips today are blowing away expectations, and we will see you guys tomorrow morning. I do think Bitcoin holds here above 66 today, so that's what I'm looking for. You folks have a great day.